All right, have and have not fans. This video is about how Jim Cryer has pretty much been screwed over from the moment he left his jail cell. And when you really think about it, the guy hasn't been able to catch a single break. I mean, he was usually like the playboy charmer, if you will, where he can seduce almost any woman into getting, what he wanted from them. But it seems like he, again, cannot catch a single break. It seemed like the one big up that he had was, well, two when you think about it. The first being, the hit on pretty much the bloodbath that he ordered up from the Malones right before he got arrested. When we look at Toxic, Terrell, Professor Cannon, and Veronica, but he called the hit off. And then Veronica, we learned, called a hit on herself, which led to the death of Maggie Day. And because of that hit that he called off, which David didn't know about, he got his ass whooped in the cell. But if you look back at the fight, and it really is hard to, follow a lot of the fights in these Tyler Perry shows because it's almost like shaky cam, if you want to put it that way, where it's almost like somebody shaking the camera from different angles. So you really can't see what's going on because Jim looked like he was actually winning the fight, but then David hit him in below the belt and then he went down on the ground. And that's when David started beating the crap out of him before the guard came in to take him away. So that's, one beating he had. And then the next big up that Jim had was when he got Lloyd from the bank to give Candice the $2 million loan, but with the 2-week balloon where if she didn't pay back every cent, the foreclosure would happen on both houses in the tow company. But then he got another blow while he was in prison about Wyatt being dead, but it turned out that he wasn't dead. Then things seemed relatively okay when he apologized to that judge so we can actually get out of jail. Another big up, of course, was the deal he created with Warlock where, hey, I'll get you out of here, but you destroy those pictures and get rid of that bitch for me. But we later learned that one of the first big blows when Jim got out of jail was, the fact that the new DA, since Jennifer was dead, has the photos and the videos when the police raided Candice's house. But I guess you could say, yeah, put it this way. The very first blow that came out when Jim left jail was finding Jennifer Salison's dead body on his floor. And that led to the whole David calling the Malones to clean up the situation. That was a big favor right there. Because again, remember, the Malone boys came in, took Jennifer's body, supposedly planted it back at her house. And I believe, 2 or 3 criminals were off on parole or something to that effect, and one of the guys was actually going to be set up at one of the Malone stations, if you will, where he would be working at a dry cleaners. He would go bring the clothes that Jennifer put over there at her house, kind of deliver the clothing. But because of the fact that he was at the scene, I believe the Malones are going to set a fire, almost like arson, to make it look like this guy was the one to kill Jennifer in her own house. So Catherine would get off the hook. Then, of course, they clean up the living room. And even Jim told David, this is a big order right here. I mean, that's a big favor, if you will. So, honestly, out of all the things that Jim has been going through, the fact that, okay, Jennifer's body was in his house, Catherine's house, but then you get on the whole, he tried to see if Veronica was on his side, but when he tried one of his, classic Jim Cryer lines in terms of trying to say that he was not a stranger to chocolate, if you will, that's when Veronica told him about her crazy puzzle where something happened to her. She has all kinds of puzzle pieces on Jim, David, Catherine, so pretty much if anything happens to her, they're all screwed. And then you have the DA who has all the evidence that Candice had from blackmailing him, and it's like, well, hey, if you don't help me get Candice, a wire where he's wearing a wire and gets her to confess to either the murder or just something to that effect where incriminating evidence is the term I'm looking for here. He's screwed because it's almost like the DA is pulling a Candice. The only difference is he isn't being extorted out of millions. And then he tried to get Candice to come over to, to his house and do what they used to do, but she wasn't having it. And I'm just like, dang, it's like, well, she's banging the potential president of the United States. She's not going back down to governor/judge level. She stepped up in the world, if you will. So Jim cannot catch a break. And then the final blow was, well, actually another blow. And again, I just keep coming up with these things because I keep thinking about it. when he got Oscar to help find Wyatt, and he told him I believe it was the 10% rate, and I believe it would come to about $1.2 million. Jim was like, no. He's like, well, hey, I mean, you don't have no choice. And that's what he did. And in less than an hour, he found out where Wyatt was. So, hey, I mean, things are actually looking on the up and up. It's almost like Jim Cryer gets knocked down, and when he comes up, when something positive happens, it's like he had to pay his way in order to get there, you know? So it seems like things really took a turn for the worse when he stepped outside of that office and then saw that the house was empty. I'm sorry. It was just hilarious to see him walking around the house, just looking through every drawer and looking around every corner, figuring out what the hell was going on. And then that was it. Catherine is finalizing the divorce, and hey, that's it. I mean, when you really think about back when Amanda died and he was looking in her room for clues, and Catherine said that I noticed $7.4 million was gone from our account. And she considered that the alimony is like, hey, you know what? You can walk out of here with the clothes on your back and nothing else and your life. And Jim said that was only fair. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to walk out of that house with the clothes on his back and his life. That's really all he can do because Catherine took it all. So, again, this video is just kind of explore the fact that, you know, Jim cannot catch a break. And honestly, just to kind of not wrap things up because this might take a few more minutes. When you think about it, and again, you can almost call this a combination video. And you know what? I want to cut this video short here because I actually feel like the other half of this video deserves its own video. So again, in the comment section below, tell me, how did you feel when Jim walked out of that room and found that, you know, the house was empty? And also, do you agree that this guy cannot catch a break ever since he got out of that jail cell? He's just been screwed by everybody that he used to have, you know, the power over. So again, leave your comments below because I really want to read some awesome, interesting comments about your thoughts, and I'll catch you all next time.